give my answer, Wolf, I think SGD
Sure.
Omega will win game number 1 because of their last pick.
Okay. Last pick, Esmeralda. How about you, Cyrus?
Yeah, we may not be seeing that aggressive rock, but in terms of prolonging the game, having the shredder, and of course the die potentials onto the side of SGD, I'd probably go with the Dragons, but this will be a hell of a battle. I mean, U level isn't going to stop being U level, so I think I'll go for
Yeah.
the Dragons.
Esmeralda's a very good pick against the Angela, against the Atlas. All these tank heroes coming out of SGD Omega. So I'm not going to be surprised if they take this. It's going to be another unanimous decision from the panel. Let's see what Rockert and Seiya has got to say about this. Take it away, guys.
Well, that last pick, that is like the epitome of a turnaround. If ever I've seen one with that Esmeralda pick. Welcome here to Caster Desk with me, Rockhart, and Seiya for Game 1 of U-Level versus SGD Omega. Seiya, I feel like that last pick was perfect. I would have been okay with the Faramis pick probably, but they went straight to the Esmeralda. What do you think about that?
To me, the Esmeralda was like the glue to the overall draft that they have right now, simply because it kind of complements in terms of having that follow-up damage. Because if you notice, Esmeralda is not being built up as a tank anymore. It's more on a versatile mage support. So it kind of cleans up the whole foundation of SGD, and I feel like they are not experimenting this time around. For the side of U level, I like their composition, sure, but the thing is, it could have been nice if they had the Esmeralda onto their hands. I mean, there was an opportunity because it kind of negates the shields that the Uranus can give, and it could be possibly turning it around their favor. But let's see. But to me, my vote's gonna be on SGD.
Honestly, that was what I was expecting. I was expecting the last pick to be somewhat relevant to what they were drafting here on the Aurora. Sorry, for the Uranus. I wanted to see a counter pick to the Uranus. I did not see it from U level. It was super promising. They got the Atlas already so good. Anyway, let's go into the match and see if that's going to be any different as we head into Game 1 of U level versus SGD.
Yes, 3. And again, for both of these compositions, they would just go in a pace wherein I don't think that there would be any early engagements for both sides of the team, considering the fact that both of the compositions require a certain amount of space to really go and scale for the economy. But this time, I like it how U level is just harassing the Kaja here onto the middle side. But this gives additional information for the side of SGD that, oh, hey, there are more populated U level people here onto the middle side. So why don't we just go and, let's go and rotate in a manner wherein we're the ones who could pin them down. And I think that's what SGD is doing right now.
Yeah, pinning down is very important, especially in later parts of the game. U level, though, they do have the composition to also do that. No doubt about it, right? They have a lot of lockdown here with the Atlas. My problem is, of course, Hajizi and Toshi both have Purify, which we've seen sometimes when Atlas goes for a Purify, goes for a Fatal Links and then gets Purified, sometimes he's left super vulnerable, right? That's my only concern for Dev's Atlas. Not to mention Toshi is already super scary on his Esmeralda. So they have to be very aware of every engagement that they're gonna have to take each and every time.
Definitely. And going back right here, I think for the side of U level, they have to really pin down those, especially for the Atlas side, if they want that successful team fight, he has to pin down his Fatal Links, or he has to execute them in a way that he shouldn't only just get one target. Because it's quite difficult. Because if he invested onto a single person, that could just be a turnaround for SGD, utilizing it because, okay, the Atlas doesn't have ult anymore, so this is a chance for us to get in. And that's one of the things that U-Level has to consider. But for the side of SGD, though, so far it's really looking good for them. I think it just needs to slowly scale, give space for the carry because in terms of early game potential, Claude might be having the upper hand in terms of damage for this early game. But if the carry was able to be given some space, I think that's one of the main points for SGD.
Yeah, the problem is, again, the carry is just... it's in the hands of Hajizi, you know? It's Hajizi, whenever he goes on hero, he's always super mechanically gifted. Although that was a very, very close call. And Flame Shot, that would have been the way to go. That would have been the place to do it if you're going to teleport back. Luckily, Hajizi was nowhere to be found there. Saves him at the time. So far, so good. Back to the point we were making. I mean, Deb, that's a lot of pressure on Deb to perform well here on this Atlas because, again, you have to be aware where you are each and every point in the game. And, again, Hajiz is not that easy to catch as well. That's something you have to think about. It's very difficult to catch Hajiz. What more when they go for a big team fight like this one?
I think it's not going to be a big team fight, more like a skirmish one at that rock card, but that is a good amount of space. Yeah, but in exchange, though, SGD will be just getting a turtle for themselves. Let's see if Toshi will be able to make it. Yes, he will. It's a bit of a messy fight, but at least it's enough to, disengage themselves from any further, pickoffs. But Escanor might be going in here, but luckily Toshi was able to go for that tower hog, but unfortunately with the Farsa's Rage was able to get him for that kill. Let's see if they will go. Tyrant's Rage will be used for Heat right here, and that was a successful pickoff, followed by another free hit with the carry onto the brush area, and this leaves them space to push this bottom turret.
Yep, this is exactly what I was talking about. Hajizi, he is so good at moving heroes and getting into the mobility. Great fail links, but look at what happened. Instant purify and instant kill. Beautifully played there by Hajizi on the carry.
And he took the mispositioning of the Atlas earlier. If you notice, that was a bit of a delayed flicker effect. That's why they went back to the towers a little bit too late. And that was pretty risky because you have to consider he had low amount of health. And speaking of low amount of health, looks like he would be going for the cleanup. Will he get it? Yes, indeed. And that was beautifully done by Kaja with his divine judgment, just really, getting pickoffs one by one for this carry, allowing a huge amount of economy for their core damager.
That's just so good. Like, right after we just analyze a kill, he goes in straight for another one. Hajiz not showing any signs of slowing down in this game. Don't forget, he is facing off against Chu, which we've seen yesterday pull off some really crazy stunts. That's what I'm waiting for in this game, to be honest. I'm waiting for Chu to be really super irrelevant. Again, it's going to be a big problem because Angela Shields will be completely nullified. And how effective is the Claude going to be without the Angela Shield?
Okay, so there's 2-1 here, and Kufra really putting some crowd control right here, really immobilizing the Thumbs all over, leaving the carry for that cleanup right there. Let's see if Deb could actually go for a potential link, but of course this is what I've said, you can't really apply the fatal links in only one person, and if I'm not mistaken, Kenji isn't the best target to really eye out right here, considering that he is pretty solid into our battlefield. And you know what? This is getting a little bit of a pinch for Ulvl because the carry here is just getting all the resources, be given some space. Deb will be used to flicker out to safety. Farsa will just use her kits to just shove away the members of SGD. This goes to show that map control-wise, it's in the hands of the Dragons.
Completely. I feel like even top lane is having a hard time just keeping afloat. And Secret, he has not been joining the team fights that much as well. I think he knows that if Toshi is in the area, it's probably a bad idea. Looking like Kenji is going to be able to meet 3 members of Ulvl. That is a solo fail link on a singular target. But Kenji, he looks like he still wants to make it out, but not going to be in time. Here's the backup here. Here's the revenge kill from SGB. Going over a double kill for Hajizi. That is not what you want to happen at that point in time.
Oh, that was a nick of time recall earlier by the Angela right there. But this is getting pretty evident the fact that Ulvl had some miscommunications earlier because they were being picked off one by one. They didn't have the chance to really enter in a manner that they wanted. And speaking of enter that they wanted, Cooper right here just using his rage all over, knocking out a secret over there and just giving really kills to the carry, which is the thing. Heath really knows how to take care of his carry.
That's true. Heath is, we haven't been noticing the Kufra that much, but he has been doing a phenomenal work actually creating zones of defense for SGD Omega and making sure that Hajizi doesn't always get caught up on his own. I think he's been indirectly responsible for the success that Hajizi has been having on this carry so far. Like you said, it's going to be a big fight. Then once more free people into the Fatal Links, and looks like the sustain is not going to be enough this time around for SGD. That's one target after another going down here really, really quick. But SGD, they are still 4-man strong, still going hard on the kill. That's a double for carry on Hajizi. That is beautifully done with a revenge kill by Basic on that Farsa with the feathered airstrike. So overall, it's still a net positive here for SGD, able to do some pushes despite the 2-for-2 trade.
We are now seeing the fruits of Carrie's labor as he goes really roaming around the map for some resources. And speaking of, before I could even finish a sentence, he was just there, getting all the turtle takes, the objectives, and, just fashionably going into pretty distinctive skirmish fights. And the good thing here is that Hajizi is in a very good position to free hit, in which case Ulvl is unfortunately not be able to pin down throughout the 9 minutes of our game. But speaking of pin down, it looks like they will be getting Kenji in exchange.
Finally, a great hard guard there from Secret allows Chu to just get a kill very, very effortlessly. But Toshi is still there to pick up the pieces as he gets a kill, followed up here very, very shortly by Heath. That is going to be a very scary, near unstoppable rather, Esmeralda. While the bottom lane is getting pushed in, all things are going wrong here for you.
They're pretty scattered, and the fact that Carrie has the damage output and alongside with Toshi, because what we've been saying, Toshi here also provides a burst damage for his teammates, so he could really go off independently. And this leaves earlier Hajizi and the Kufra to just push into the bottom side. Now that the bottom side is exposed, limited resources for the side of Ulvl, it's going to be very difficult for them now to go for the economy. And for the side of SGD, though, all they have to do is just pin down either the Claude or the Angela, and this is probably game over because the remaining 3, which is Escanor and company, won't be able to have that enough damage. And speaking, they just picked off Claude as predicted.
Yep, right there, Hajizi, such a free-hitting carry. No way to stop this. They can't even dive on him or crowd control him anymore. Looks like Hajizi is not going to be the only problem as the mid lane is already top lane rather is already receiving some damage from the minion waves. Looks like they'll be able to clean that up just in time. But Ulvl, my gosh, they are drowning here on SGD.
Because it's not enough. The damage or the resources that they have are not enough to really, compensate for the losses that they have earlier throughout the game. And we do say that sometimes the kill isn't the most important thing, but in this specific case, 16-6 is a huge factor to consider because that is one of the big contributions as to why the carry is, let's say, fed right now, because that's 11-0-2. 11-0-2. Now, the best bet that Ulvl has to do is to shut this carry down, because that's a big amount of bounty, and follow it up by being a bit sturdy at the same time with the defense as well.
Looks like Ulvl's just having some fun here in the base. I think they kind of know. Yeah, smile for the camera, boys. I think they kind of know that the end is very much near, and if they go out, there's a waiting Toshi there somewhere who's going to take them down. And I don't think anyone here on Ulvl can stop Toshi. Even 2 people, I think, will have a hard time with this Esmeralda. And then while they're doing that, everyone else from SGD Omega is probably going to go in for the fatal strike. However,
Yes.
again, the SGD Omega, they're being very, very responsible here, not slipping and methodically cutting out resources from Ulvl.
Simply because this is the discipline that we are observing with SGD Omega all throughout. They're not really in a rush. And speaking of not rush, just that divine judgment is one of the key factors into winning this. While the Lord just pressures on the bottom, they go and pick off one by one members of Ulvl. That's just an opening for them. And let's see, Fatalists will only get one, but that's not going to be enough. But look here, it's going to be a bit messy as the carry will just free hit all day long. And I think they will be finishing this all the while, but the Angelo manages to go and shut down finally Hajizi right there, and this is now forcing SGD Omega to be a little bit more careful and cautious in terms of pushing this. But I think they will be pushing this as they would just target the base and just knock up Secret and Basic right here with the help of the minions. Game number 1 is in SGD Omega.
Very